far as Dr. Phil's comment goes, I realize what I'm witnessing right now, to be quite honest, is kind of two camps. I'm witnessing two camps right now. So I'm witnessing there, and it doesn't seem like there's anywhere in between. Maybe a little bit of nuance on the right, but that's about it. So he's on Fox last night, and he's saying that we don't shut down the country for automobile deaths, etc. And everyone's freaking out because how dare you refer it to that, etc. Hold up. I cannot stand this purposeful obtuseness. Honestly, this knee-jerk reactionary BS is making all of us stupider, and I swear it risks lives. Stop it. And I see it from even people on the right. Stop it. Stop being so stupidly reactionary. Can we have a conversation at any point where we don't immediately assume the worst of an individual because we may not entirely agree with what they're saying? I mean, and I'm not talking about like them, saying hateful stuff. Let's not be so stupid as to just forget the obviousness on that. Do we always immediately have to attribute the worst possible motive to someone when they're suggesting something? Do we always have to make the most reductive reasoning out of what they're saying? Do we always have to make the most reductive argument? What he's talking about is if you're looking at the number of lives, and keep in mind, we literally shut down the economy for this. This is not an illegitimate point. When you're talking about the number of lives affected and preventing that number from growing, he's simply saying there is a better way to handle this than to just stop in one place and shut everything down. And if you are talking about saving lives, and this is similar to logically, the formula is similar to what we talk about when we are dissenting with gun control. If it's about saving lives, well, you have to also acknowledge that there are other lives that have been maybe even at greater numbers, and in the case of gun control, definitely so, that are affected by other variables that people do not have that reaction to. What he's not saying, but sort of intimating here, is that people freak out about this because it's an unknown. We don't know how it behaves. You have doctors on television saying we're still studying it, so we can't totally tell you everything about it. People are terrified of the unknown. That's completely understandable. The media likes to showcase the absolute worst of everything. Every single day, if you only believed in what you watched on cable news or the above-the-fold headlines on legacy media, you would think that we live in a flaming basket destined for hell, and we're all going to be consumed by zombies and bats. I don't know. And then as Kennedy said in Louisiana, we'll end up in the desert eating cat food. That's not that. So you have to put it in perspective. What he's talking about is the number of lives lost, how we handle those situations, and whether or not the measure of handling those situations, does that make, when you compare it to how we are reacting with this, are we overreacting, considering there is a ridiculous difference between projections and what the numbers are? And you can say all day long, and I may agree with you, I may not. You can say all day long, okay, that's great, but it's our behavior that mitigated this. It's our behavior that did this. Well, true, but keep in mind that those early projections were the best case scenarios of social distancing and isolation, strict social distancing and isolation. So those earlier numbers that were in the six figures, that had that already that was already incorporated. That was the best case scenario, remember? I do, because I've watched every single one of these damn press conferences, taken notes for you, and then come on air the next day for you and play the audio for you of them saying that for you. So then it's now we're under 29,000. Now, this is great. That's great. But did we overreact? And would we have gotten that same number by maybe perhaps doing a bit of a compromise on a reduction of going out in crowds and still incorporating the social distancing, but maybe perhaps not literally shutting everything down? That's the question. That's what he's getting at. But everyone wants to be deliberately obtuse, and they all want to create this little straw man and act like he's some kind of kook. I'm not even a Dr. Phil fan. Y'all damn people making me defend this guy. I'm not even a fan. I'm just suggesting that there's actually a lot more to his response than people want to give him credit for. You know, it's weird to me.